Today I took shorts on NQ. We're going to go over why the trade worked out and what was the thought process coming into the day. So today I took my trade at 10:35 here after we had swept this lower time frame liquidity, came into a daily gap, which I will show after, and we closed below this up close candle, creating a order block, and I entered off that order block targeting uh, basically the opening candle here. We were very extended, far away from London high here. So I just targeted the open pretty much, and that's what I was looking for. So the trade ended up working out, and I'll go over my management of the trade after that. But let's go into the analysis of the day. So initially, what I did is I was looking at NQ at ES for the majority of the morning. So we started the monthly, nothing really important there. Weekly, nothing really important there. And if we go inversely to um, NQ here, I was looking at this weekly gap because previous day we had come into this weekly gap at the end of the day. So I was expecting us to have quite a bit of a push up and then land at another high time frame PDRA, right? But the thing is, I only trade the fresh gap reactions. So this is something I wasn't really trading today, but I was just being aware of it. So if we go back to ES, weekly, there was nothing there. Daily, nothing really there. And then if we look at the 12-hour, we had a 12-hour gap here. So for the majority of the morning, I was looking at ES, looking for possible shorts, right? But we kept on trending higher and higher and higher and higher, and nothing really presented itself for me to constitute as a trade. So then I took a look at what was happening on on NQ, and NQ had a 12-hour gap that was a little bit like higher past this 12-hour high. So we kept trending up, and I ended up swapping over to NQ because I knew when we swept this liquidity and came into that 12-hour gap, we would have a nice reaction, which I could trade. So then I was patient. Well, I wasn't really patient because it was very, very frustrating watching it trending higher, and I had to be very, very patient. So I waited for our 4-hour sweep, tapping into that 12-hour gap. And then I basically took a CISD entry, which was this, which I showed here. So in terms of my trade management, I traded, I had funded accounts, which I was trying to pass, and I traded those until 6 hour, and those passed the accounts. And then I'm a little bit upset with the way I handled my um, actual like live funded accounts because yes, I took 50% off at 5R here, and then it came all the way to like 7.4R, and like I wanted it to go to 7.5R, and it basically reversed all the way like up till here because I was trailing on the 5 minute once we started retracing back there, and then I got trailed at for pretty much 4R. That was a little bit frustrating, but it's name of the game. It happens, right? I think for today, I just have to tell myself like, yeah, this type of things happen, right? It just wasn't for me today, and like I can go down the rabbit hole and try and fix it and be like, okay, like cope this, cope that, solution this, solution that. But sometimes you just don't win, and well, you win, and sometimes it just doesn't work out, and that's okay, And I can just say I was pretty lucky today because even if you look at it, we had this big push up, and then we came down basically like into this 1 hour fair value gap, and then it turned around. And maybe that could have been a sign, right? Take your profits when we came into that 1 hour gap after we had a big push up like this. But overall in the day, I'd say this was a grade of an A day, you know. So yeah, that's basically it for me today. Took one trade, uh, you know, worked out well, followed the rules. That's all that really matters. So yeah, good luck and good trading.